Donald Trump now joking about not accepting results of the election if he loses. But just about everybody else in his own party saying it is no laughing matter. We got some Republicans here at the table to weigh in. Well, the names and the places are different, but the allegations pretty much the same. An elected official in our backyard accusing of lining his pockets at taxpayer expense. We'll take a look about the case against Nassau County Executive Ed Mangano. Then a mentally ill New York City woman fatally shot by the police, and Mayor de Blasio immediately says the shooting was unacceptable. We'll discuss the latest controversy involving police and the community. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to RFL. I'm Richard French. Thank you so much for joining us this Thursday night. And we start with the presidential election that is thankfully in the home stretch. The election now just 19 days away. And the numbers are in. 69 people, it's estimated, watched the debate last night. That's a bit more than the second debate, less than the first one, but still a huge number. The question is, will it hurt or hurt Trump's numbers? A new Bloomberg poll shows him trailing Hillary Clinton by 9 points in a two-way race, and she's at 50%. That is the second poll now just this week where we have seen her for the first time hitting that magical 50% mark. And Clinton, she's also eating into Trump's base. This Bloomberg poll shows her pulling out to a 4-point lead with white voters who don't have a college degree, and she's up by 13 points among the people who are in fact college educated. And when you look at the map, the news, well, it gets worse for the Donald. New numbers from the UVA Center of Politics show Clinton with 352 electoral votes that are either safely Democratic, likely Democratic, or leaning that way. Trump, he's sitting at 173. Now, of course, you need 270 to win. The map shows Arizona, Nevada, and Colorado likely or leaning towards Hillary. And all of the upper Midwest states, they are the same way. Ditto for Pennsylvania and the key states of Ohio and Florida. Now, if this turns into a landslide, as many are predicting, it will be hard for Trump to blame a rigged election for the results. And for more, let's bring in ABC's political commentator, Cokie Roberts. You're always at a loss for words, and last night did not disappoint again. I'm curious, even with a big audience last night, I don't see her losing any support. But did Trump actually gain any votes last night? If anything, you'd think some would pull away given his comments about the election being rigged and his refusal to potentially accept the results.
Well, you would think that. And in fact, the people who are most likely to be pulled away are Republican office holders and officials. John McCain said today, he, of course, having lost to Barack Obama in 2008, said, it was his responsibility to support the will of the American people. Now, Trump, in typical Trump fashion today, says, I have a major announcement to make. And he says, I will accept the results of the election if I win. So he's now just doubling down.
In terms of what you're hearing of concern, if not more than that, on incumbent Republicans running this year, we're seeing numbers that 80-plus Republicans are being asked to throw in money into the Republican kitty to help others stave off potential losses. How worried are they at this point that this thing could be a wave here and it could have huge down-ticket consequences?
They're very, very worried. And apparently they are looking at some internal polls that are making them even more nervous than the ones that we are seeing. So basically, they've made the decision, not publicly, but essentially made the decision to say, forget the presidential race. We're going to spend all of our resources on trying to protect the House and Senate. So it's, these things happen. I mean, it happened in 1996 with Bob Dole. It happened in 1972 with George McGovern, where when October comes around and it looks like the presidential race is going south, the party gets behind the rest of the candidates.
Cokie, coming back to what Trump said or didn't say in terms of saying he'll abide by the results come November 8th, do you view that still as a stunt? I know a lot of people are making quite a bit, for example, out of an exchange of a tweet that came from Laura Ingraham and somebody else say, hey, that's what the Second Amendment's for, I've got a gun, and how much rage Trump has fomented. How dangerous do you think it could be come November 9th if Trump refuses to accept the will of the people, if in fact, let's say the polls are reflective of reality?
I think it's extraordinarily dangerous. First of all, it's even before we get to that question of guns, it's dangerous to the American Republic. This is very much a part of who we are and part of the example that we have shown to the world since the beginning of the nation. In the election of 1800, when John Adams accepted his defeat by Thomas Jefferson, it showed the world that this little new country on the shores of the Atlantic really meant to be governed by consent. And that was extraordinary, and we've done it ever since. And for someone to say, I might not abide by that, is just unheard of. And then you combine that with some of his supporters saying, I'm going to foment revolution and I've got a gun, and it gets downright scary.
To say the least. Cokie Roberts, thank you as always. I appreciate a couple.
Okay, thank you.
All right, up next, Donald Trump is doubling down and laughing off his claims that he will not accept that election result unless he wins. Our panel will join us to discuss.